Yes, what's happening? It's always something at the last minute with me. Family, family, family. How was your day today? YouTube, how was your family today, family? Facebook, how was your day today, family? I know I just said that backwards, but how's your family today? How are you doing? And how are you doing? Good. Well. Today is, I said Saturday. No, today is Sunday. I hope I said Sunday earlier. But anyway, how was your Sunday? How was your Sunday? How was your Sunday? Okay, boy. You know, when fight night comes, Saturday night for me is a late night. I stay up and watch as many fights as I can. And sometimes I even start going back into the history of some old fights, So I'm working on very little sleep. But it ain't going to stop the show, though. You know what I mean? And today's show, okay, family, I want to start off by uh, giving tribute to my man, Colin Kaepernick. Okay, Colin Kaepernick, a lot of you know, was once a quarterback. Okay, and he made a choice in his life to stand up for something that a lot of people refuse to stand up for. You know, and it cost him his career. Colin Kaepernick, from football player to activist, okay? And he's a civil rights activist now. He's not making money at football because even though Nike picked him up as a sponsor, that the football teams have not picked him up. Why is that? Why haven't the football teams picked him up when they all say that what he did was a noble thing, was a good thing, but still they're not putting him back on the football teams? Okay. Uh, we all can point a finger on why that is. He's been blacklisted, blackballed, or blacklisted. Nobody, pretty much, if you have him, for the most part, they're afraid of their base turning on them and possibly not creating the type of money that they feel that they have been accustomed to all the time because their fans will drop off or something. Maybe that's what it is. But maybe it wasn't meant for Colin Kaepernick to be this great quarterback that he always dreamed to be. As you know, he was a an adopted child. He was mixed. He was raised by a white family, but he had a burning desire to know his black side. So I would suggest everybody, if you have not seen the Colin Kaepernick story on Netflix, please go check that thing out. See, my man, somebody's burning some Nikes. See that? They're burning Nikes. I would say you go ahead and burn your Nikes that you spent your money on, stupids. You mad. You mad because Nike picked him up. That was a good thing because they are standing, they understand the reason why he kneeled when they were doing the celebrating, doing the thing at the, for the American flag, right? They, it, Nike gets it, but apparently the rest of you nuts don't get it. And here I am going to tell you again the reason why we kneel. We don't kneel against the country. We kneel against the things that have been happening with the police officers and civilians and black people. That's what we're kneeling for the fallen soldiers or the fallen people who was caught up with this police brutality thing. So we kneel for that. We kneel for police reform. We're not talking about, defund the police, like just erase them. See, that's another thing you guys like to change the narrative about. Understand it. Act educated about that part. Act educated on the reasons why when we're telling you the reason why we kneel. All right. He went from football player to civil activist. That's even better than being a football player in my book, because he goes down in history. Either way, he was a great baseball player as well. Check out the story. Check out the story. Oh, what's going on here? Am I still connected? See something going dark. Okay, so he was actually a great baseball player, and everybody thought that that's where he should go as far as being a pro, you know, in sports, was baseball. And it turned out that he loved football so much, being a quarterback was his main dream. He was better at, I think they were saying that his stats were saying that he was better at playing baseball. You know, he was a pitcher, saying he was better at that than actually playing football, right? He was actually good at all. I think he played basketball as well. He was well-rounded, which was a great thing. They kept him busy. That's one thing we can definitely give his parents credit for. But his parents was overlooking the fact, or maybe they didn't want to reveal why he was going through the things he was going through, being rejected, and most of his white peers were not. And I think the parents kind of like turned a blind eye to it. But they loved Colin Kaepernick, though. And they just didn't want him, they never wanted him to feel like, you know, he's being rejected or being treated different when they were raising him. But they never really stood firm with him or connected with him on how he was feeling. But he got up every day and played the game. Whatever sport he was playing for that season, he got up there and he played the game. And they treated him a certain way because he was half black. Look at that story. Very interesting. So today, I am celebrating Black History Day again, and it's Colin Kaepernick today. Colin Kaepernick, family. All right, talk about him. Go check out Netflix, right? Today's topic, though, is going to be our Republican lifers ideology, the way that they think, the lifers, the Republican lifers, because we too are lifers. We believe in pro-life, but it's a certain dynamics, though. You know, if you're a God-fearing person, you're going to do your part, and you're going to make sure that you are representing life the best that you can, and you are trying to preserve life as much as you can, you know. But we're not going to be unreal about it and say no matter what happens to a female that they don't have the right to abort. If they were raped by 20 men, go ahead and bear that child. I mean, I find a problem with that, you know. I really do. And I think a lot of Christians will say, you know, have the child and put him up for adoption, right? But then now the woman has to go through that 9 months of that pain, of that unwanted situation, right? For the sake of just, you know, pro-life, never taking a life, right? But then now all your pro-lifers, now here's the weird thing, that even though you guys are fighting so much about, you know, abortions and so forth, but now how about you're fighting for women to have babies, you never to abort them regardless of the circumstances, but still yet you promote a group of people who are willing to hang and lynch people after they're out the womb and grow up. Or maybe it's just the particular ones that you're fighting against when it comes to abortion. Maybe you don't care about if it's a black person aborting their child or a child versus a white person aborting a child. I don't know. I don't understand that. And then still yet, you guys can be so angry at black folks when we try to stand up for life and we try to fight for our own life. regardless on what it is, the officer could be doing real bad, trying to hurt us real bad and lock us up for no reason and beat us and shoot us, and we're fighting against it. And then you hate us for that. And then you in turn wouldn't mind to see us get hurt. And then when we are hurt, you don't hold the people who try to hurt us accountable for it. You're always trying to get them off. So how are you pro-life? That's confusing to me. It's confusing to me because you're sending a mixed message. On one hand, you want the world to look at you as a pro-life individual, and on the other hand, you don't give a damn about somebody's life, especially if they're not your color. So how are you pro-life? So how about shutting up about the pro-life business, because we can see obviously through your fake front. That's the way I'm seeing it. That's just very clear. So you're protesting and you're fighting against Planned Parenthood, and you're saying that they are so wrong for having a system like that, And I am simply not understanding. I'm not understanding how in the world can you still sit up there with a straight face and call yourself a pro-life person when you don't care what happens to Black and brown people. When a wicked person, a wicked cop gets a hold to a Black and brown person and kills them and does dirt to them in a way that, will alter their life forever, you don't care. It's not a big deal, and you still dislike us because we're fighting for life. So to me, that's confusing, very much confusing. And it should be confusing to almost all of us who got some basic sense, common sense about ourselves, So that's one thing, being exposed. I mean, you can't say on one hand that you're about A, B, and C, and then on the other hand, you act totally opposite of it. And that's and this is the image that you want the world to see you as, and then turn around and say something like, racism does not exist. Yeah, you don't want it. You don't want the world to see you as that group of people who enslaved and brutally beat and killed people for your profit, or just for the fun of it. Really, that's what it seemed like it turned out to be. And when you look at people today trying to bring that same concept back by having control of the judicial system and having control of the policing system and the political system, that you can keep these particular people in place and they can do that type of damage to Black and brown people and literally get off, because once they're being brought up on charges and they go to the court, now they got a lawyer who pretty much thinks like the wicked cop who did the dirt that they did. And then you got the judges who are going to preside over the thing. And then even if they have to pick a jury, most of the jury they pick is unbalanced, because it's more like, if it's a white person being on trial for murder, a white cop being on trial for murder, then they have most white people in the jury pit and one or two maybe Blacks and Spanish. How's that balance of their peers? That's not right. Because I'm pretty sure that most of the Black people look at it like it didn't have to happen that way. It could have actually been a different way if certain things were not in place. Like the lady who killed the young guy in the car said that she accidentally grabbed her taser versus her gun. Now, mind you, your taser is put on if you're right-handed, it's put on your service weapon, the gun, is put on your strong hand. So it'll cross your body. That's the side that you always grab quickly. And then the taser's on the weak side. So if she's right-handed, she has to grab over this way to the left to get her gun out. I think that's how it works. I don't think it's like this. I think it's more like that, right? So however way it is, there's a certain way that they have the guns positioned on their belts, and they know that if they go either left or right, which gun or weapon that they're pulling. And then there's a weight difference. Now I'm saying this stuff because it all works in with pro-life. If you're about pro-life, then why are you working so hard to get this woman off? And she killed this boy. And there was other officers there that didn't feel the threat to have to shoot this boy. She was the only one that came through there and felt like she had to pull the trigger on him. And then of course, she knew what to say because she had to be the one who was teaching other officers on what to say if a scenario like that was to happen. And now it's her. And she's telling the jury that she accidentally pulled the wrong weapon and shot and killed this boy. It's always some type of lame accident, some lame excuse. But then not just that, is that everybody rallies around this person because of who they are, and they're connected with the law, and the law is majority ran by them. So they have more compassion for the person who committed the murder and making the person who was shot as a villain, which is mostly a black and brown person. Now, don't tell me that that ain't racism. And don't tell me that that in itself is the lack of pro-life, because you're not caring much about the person who was killed. Not at all. You're not looking to hold anybody accountable for that. You just want it to be an accident and let it go away. And now this family has to grieve and change and deal with the pain of losing a loved one, regardless if they made a mistake or not. Let's say the young boy made a mistake, okay, and tried to get away in that car. That was his mistake, right? She made a mistake that was fatal. Now you put the two mistakes on a scale. Why are you having more compassion for her? She killed the boy versus the boy just trying to get away. He made the mistake of trying to get away. She made the mistake by shooting him dead. There's no comparison to that. There's no comparison. No other officer out there felt like his life was being threatened, because if that was the case, they all would have shot him. It was only her. She was the only one. And a lot of the officers didn't even realize that she had shot him. She said, "Oh my God, I shot him. I shot him. My career is over." She was more concerned about her freaking career than she was about the boy she shot. That is not pro-life. You cannot support somebody who thinks that way and operates that way, and you call yourself pro-life. A pro-lifer. The poor infants, the fetus don't have a choice in the matter, right? Did the boy have a choice in the matter? So now, if it's an unborn fetus, you have more compassion for it. More compassion for the unborn fetus. And then when he's out and living his life as a human being, and something happens to them by the hands of your people, you don't give a damn. Just get him off. Just, he shouldn't have did what he did, and he wouldn't have died. That's how you see it. Right? He shouldn't have did what he did, and she shouldn't have pulled the gun like she did, and he would not have died. Yeah, I mean, we can go back and forth with that. Yeah, the boy did something wrong, trying to get away. The lady did something wrong, shot him fatally, dead. There's no comparison in the two mistakes. As far as the penalties, the penalty of him trying to get away shouldn't have been death. And there shouldn't be a whole bunch of people rallying behind her. other than her family. She made the mistake and she got to stand up to it. She got to own up to her mistake, just like every one of us. If we made the mistake and hit a police officer with our car, trying to get away, say we run him over by accident because he jumped in front of the car like Superman trying to stop. Hold it, stop, and gets run over. We're going to jail for murder. It was an accident. We didn't really mean to do that, man. Didn't know he was going to jump out in front of the car like that. Dang nabbit. You know what I mean? But we hit him. He's dead. And we have to pay a price for it. There's no compassion. The courts will look at us like we should be under the jail. Give us 135,000 years of prison. 135,000 years of prison. If they can do it, they would. If they can kill us 50 times, they'll do that too. They can kill us 150 times, they'll do that. You understand? The hatred, the deep-rooted racism thing ties together. And the pro-lifers are the ones who are trying to find a fight, trying to have some type of battle so they can band together and tell us what you're doing is wrong. What we're doing is wrong. So if one of us if one of our females get raped by some stranger, some crazy, insane people, they should go ahead and go 9 months with that child. I think that's wrong. If she was 10 years old, got raped, and was pregnant, she doesn't have the right to abort that child at 10 years old or 14 or 15 or whatever the case is. You see this? You see the concept? You don't care about that, though. But you okay with that same teenager getting killed by a police officer, and he's found guilty. He's on videotape as doing such, breaking the law, doing something wrong, but still yet you have more compassion for him in the courtroom when he started crying with alligator tears, basically none tears. No tears are dropping. Like Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse was forcing those tears to come, but for some reason those tears wasn't dropping because he was told to do this. And he learned a valuable lesson. Fake it until you can make it. That's exactly what he did. And he made it. Thanks to the judge. The judge was like, he's too young to pay the penalty of killing two people. He's just too young for that. How about the guy who shot up the daggone people in the church? The elderly people and a couple of young ones as well. 9 people he killed. And when they caught this boy, they were very gentle with him. They did not treat him rough. They even said to him, man, wow, you're having a bad day, huh? He in turn was like, yeah, I am. But somebody had to do it. And then they say, well, we're going to have to do our job and we're going to have to take you in, but it looks like you haven't had anything to eat. So we're going to stop at Burger King and get you something to eat, okay? All the compassion poured out for this killer, this young killer. The compassion was amazing. But for the people who were shot dead in that church, it seems as if they have more compassion for this young boy who chose to do this for his racist reasons and still try to get him off. Lower the sentence. Don't shoot for the death penalty for him because he's too young. Pro-lifers will have compassion for a person like that. The same Republican pro-lifers who voted for Trump, who are okay. They're quiet in silence about what Putin is doing at the Ukraine border. Quiet. Not saying anything against Putin. Not saying that Biden is standing up to the man versus Trump wouldn't. There's crickets. Crickets. Just crickets. You don't hear nothing. Very silent. Why is that? The same Republican pro-lifers who cried about anything that black people did or do or try to get certain rights to. Human American rights equal across the board. We can't have that. Let's strike that bill down upon receipt. Dead on arrival, they call it. Mitch McConnell was the guy who basically claimed that a lot of those bills that Biden was pushing, we can't do. Most of the Republicans did not want these bills, even though it benefited Republicans as well. But it was benefiting, of course, a lot of black and brown people as well. So therefore, we're going to shoot it down. Pro-lifers, man. Supposed to be pro-lifers, quote, which is not true. Okay? Because they find it just like, it doesn't matter about if a brown and black person was killed unjustly. That doesn't matter. But don't let somebody try to have an abortion. That's mixed signals. You guys have to look at yourselves a little better than that. You have to look in the mirror and be honest. Be honest how you truly feel. How do you feel? If you feel totally okay with being that way, then something is definitely wrong. There is a disconnect. You can't say one thing and do another. You can, what you've been doing, seem like it's a norm to say one thing and do another. Don't tell us you're patriotic and still yet you don't do the patriotic things. You don't stand for patriotic bills that will help everybody across the board. You don't see a problem there. And then you have a problem with women who are trying to just simply have control of their own bodies when very negative things will happen to them. So you're telling them it's against the law. Now you want it to be against the law, but it's still against the law to kill somebody by police. It's against the law. It's wrong. Shouldn't happen. I say it should be between God and the woman if she decides to abort. That should be her choice. It's her body. Well, she's occupying that body. I ain't gonna say it's hers. Just like this body ain't mine. But for the time being that we here, this is what you know us as in this body. Got to be between her and God. Can God forgive her for that? God is a forgiving God, isn't he? He even can forgive the racist white people who kill black and brown people if they actually changed and repented. But they can't just kill and be like, God forgive me, and then go do it again. God forgive me, and then go do it again. God forgive me. It doesn't happen like that. Think about what you're standing for. Like for me, for example, what am I standing for? I come on here and I talk about all these different things. Everything that you hear that I talk about, I stand for. If I talk against it, then I'm against it. If I'm talking for it, then I'm for it. And I let it be known. I've been letting it be known way back since I came out of my dirt. And even beyond, even when I was introduced to standing up for the right things many years ago. And I'm still talking it. Pro-lifers. You guys been around for a long time, talking all that brainwashed bull crap. Now, only reason why I say it that way is because you say one thing and do another. A lot of people do that. They say one thing and they do another. I myself have done that in the past. I said one thing and I did another. But when you can look in that personal mirror, not just at your image in the mirror, you look past your image into your own soul, into your own heart. And you have to answer yourself honestly, more so than anybody would. Because you know yourself more than anybody else would. You know yourself better than your parents know you. Because you know your deep feelings, your deep-rooted situations, your deep-rooted negatives, and your deep-rooted positives. You know all of that within. You know what triggers you. You know what makes you want to love, what makes you want to tell the truth or lie. You know it better than anybody. So when we say look into your own being, your own soul, your own heart, your own mind, what makes you think the way that you think, and it controls your heart to make you react a certain way. So what is it with the pro-lifers that they're okay? They're not okay with abortion, but they're okay with black and brown people being killed. They have less compassion for us is the reason why. But where did that come from? I always ask that question. It's something deep-rooted. So deep-rooted that it's hard for them to change. It's hard for them to change right out of it because it takes work. To change from understanding how you've been and whatever people have been teaching you to be, and it ain't right. And you stand up against it. And that's exactly what Colin Kaepernick did. Not that he was taught anything bad, I wouldn't say. But I would simply say what he noticed growing up. He had the privilege of living both sides. I wonder what that feels like. And everything I'm talking about, he understands it. He understands it. And that's the reason why he kneeled at the ceremony of saluting the flag. That is the reason why. It was something that was burning in that man all this time. He didn't know what it was, but he figured it out on his own. His parents wasn't really trying to pinpoint it and tell him because they didn't want to push him in either direction, let him make his own mind up. And he did. He made up his own mind. And from what he could see, bothered him deeply. Because he was able to live both lives. He lived a good life. He put into great schools. He was able to play all the sports that he wanted to. All he had to do is dedicate himself, in which he did. And I truly believe that the same thing that I'm talking about right now, as far as pro-life is concerned, he in turn, I believe, will be like, I think a woman should have that right if some tragic thing was to happen to them and they wind up having to bear some crazy man's child, some stranger was forced themselves on her. She should have that right. She shouldn't have to go that 9 months. God forgive me for saying that. God forgive me for saying that. But that's what life is, isn't it? But I think we should do our absolute best to try to make sure that things go according to plan best we can. We know things kind of don't do that all the time. So we have to have a thing to do, or some type of way to resort to, how do you cope with that situation that was unexpected? How do we cope with that thing? In a case like that, that's hard to force somebody to do. Tell them after being brutally, savagely raped, tell them they have to bear that child and have to feel that growing in their body that was forced on them. Come on, think about that. Think about if it was you. It's a lot of people have to stop furthering their career when they get pregnant because they have to attend to a child, or they have to go to 9 months. Maybe not the full 9 months as far as work. You have to go maybe 6 months, and the last 4 6, 9 or whatever, 4 months after that, they have to kind of take it easy. I don't even think they go a whole 6 months of working, and then they have to take it easy because they don't want to, damage themselves or the baby. They have to be careful. You can't just keep running up and down like you're not pregnant. It alters your life. Then you got to heal from that after you bear a child. Just imagine if all that was forced on you. I don't think they look at that. They just look at, you shouldn't abort a fetus because it didn't have a choice. That goes the same with beating a man to death by police officers. The man didn't have a choice. And even if he did have a choice, he's not choosing to get beat to death or choked to death or shot in the face or in the back or shot while he's sleeping on a couch or just somebody barging into his home and he reached for his protection and his girl gets shot or he gets shot. And then they charge him for shooting at the police officers who made a mistake coming into the wrong home. But now that somebody's dead behind that error, and they don't want to hold nobody accountable for it, but all you pro-lifers are still supporting the man who squeezed the trigger. I find a big problem with that. Don't come crying to me about some daggone pro-life. And you don't give a dag nabbit what happened to us after we're born. That's a hypocritical thing, way to think. I think it's hypocritical. It's two-faced. Tell me one thing and then treat me like a daggone, like you want me dead. You fight for me to live from fetus to birth, and then you want to kill me when I'm here. What kind of backwards bull is that? Really? Let's all think about that, man. All you racist Republican and Republican pro-lifers, think about that. How about walking in our shoes for a while? Walk in our shoes for a decade or so. I bet you'll be just like we are. Walk in our shoes. You couldn't fathom that, though. Not me. No way. There's no way. You can't deal with that. With all the negative and bull crap that we have to deal with every day. You're always popping up with something. We have to deal with that. And then you want us to forget about it, erase it out of history, like it never, ever existed. Just look at your life is better right now versus how it used to be. So you should have nothing to complain about. So just be quiet. Don't worry about it. We'll burn the books. It's a tragic reminder. We know you don't want to be reminded of this type of horrible thing that happened to your ancestors. So we'll get rid of the books. And by doing that, for you, it helps our children. Our children are not going to be tormented by what happened to them by their great-grandfathers. What their great-grandfathers did to you people. Really? That's what it seemed like you guys are trying to do. You guys are all right with that. So when the racist groups get together, the Klansmen, the skinheads, and the Proud Boys, and the Boogie Boys, and the Boogaloo Doodles, and all them guys get together, and go out and try to hurt black people. You guys all right with that? You ain't crying. I don't see you protesting against it. I don't see you speaking up against it. I don't see you trying to make laws against it. I don't see you doing anything. You get silent again. You zip. Oops. Because I know my family members are a part of the Proud Boys. I can't say anything. I didn't see that. I didn't see him crack that black boy upside the head with that bat. I didn't see that. I didn't see them run and chase that black boy down the street and block him off and shot him with the shotgun twice. I didn't see that. No way. But you got the nerve to be yapping and yapping about pro-life abortions, right? You yapping about that. Oh, we can yap about that one though, but you can't yap about a black man being choked out by a police officer in front of everybody, and you try to get him off as well. Come on, man. Y'all not that dense. You're not. There's no way. There's no way. You can sit up there and try to play innocent all you want. I'm talking about all you hateful people. You can play innocent all you want, but we see right through you. You're being exposed. You're not just being exposed by us. It's not just the black and brown people that are exposing you. It's your people who are waking up exposing you. Your people are exposing you because they know what you're doing and where you operate and the laws that you're passing are wrong. Oh, my goodness. Wow. I didn't know. But it was in front of your face the whole time, and we're yelling and screaming at the top of our lungs with video camera in hand and pictures to prove it. But only time you really open your eyes is because one of y'all done told y'all that it's wrong and it shouldn't be done. Oh. When the Rodney King got beat down the way he did, my goodness, remember that? Some of y'all wasn't even born then, probably. I remember it. I remember it very vividly. That hurt my heart. It wasn't even me. But really, it was a symbol of me. It was another man, big, black man, did something wrong. Wasn't that great of a thing he did wrong, but they tried to beat him to death. But he survived. Everybody was like, stay down, Rodney, stay down. But Rodney had that thing like, hey, I just can't lay on the ground, let him kill me. I got to get up, at least sit up. They didn't even want the man to sit up. They wanted him to lay down. So they tased him and they beat him. They tried to break his ankles with those batons so he couldn't get up. That's why that riot kicked off the way it did. It was a bad one too. And all the little bad apples we had came out in the woodwork, buddy. That gave them a reason to go after everybody that was white in California. Whew. Boy, I tell you, that guy that got drug out that truck, I bet y'all had some compassion about that life who was about to be taken. Oh no, oh no, oh no, look at what they're doing to him. That's horrible. But what they did to Rodney King was like, he did something wrong. He should, no big deal. That's what's wrong with this pro-life thing. The way y'all push it. Believe one thing on one end and, like, for y'all, all right, pro-life. The pro-lifers, the Republican pro-lifers, because, Republicans don't care about nothing but some money. That's all the Republicans concerned about. Money. I don't want to pay no taxes either. I can make billions and billions and billions, and I shouldn't have to pay no more than about 2.5% taxes. That's it. Out of billions and billions. You know what I mean? That's all you're worried about. It's already been proven. You're ready to sell out your soul to Russia. For what? Wait a minute. Does that mean you're not patriotic? If you're selling out America to Russia, that makes you unpatriotic, doesn't it? How can you still be patriotic, like you claim, and still be sympathizing with Russia? I don't get that. Don't get it. Doesn't make sense. How can you tell us one thing? You run around with the American flag all draped all over you, but still yet you're voting for a group of people who are tearing this place down. That part doesn't make any sense. Certain laws that you're passing don't make any sense. Telling women that they don't have the right to have an abortion if something tragic happens to them and they become pregnant. That doesn't make sense. But you still allow, you're okay and support people who are killing black and brown people. That's crazy. That is crazy. That's not balanced. That is not right. That need to be reformed. There's so much of this system need to be reformed in order for it to be equal across the board. Because you don't just have a country of just white people. You have a country of all nationalities. You cannot tell those football players out on that field, only thing they need to do is just play ball. You get paid to play ball. Nobody should hear your points or your view about anything. Just play ball. Is that it? No. They have the right to their opinion as well. Some of them are just as bad. A lot, some of them are daggone hardcore racist Republicans out there playing with all them brothers. They don't let it be known out on that field, though, because they will get dogged. When I tell you get run over, they get smashed. So I think they have a little more respect. Kneeling at the daggone flag ceremony. How bad is that? Really? You want to stop a man from playing a sport he's good at? You stop him because you want to change his narrative to be what you want his narrative to be. And he's telling you why. And you're saying, nope, it's not that. You hate America. Because the idiot said it first. But you run around saying you are not blind sheep. But everything if he says something on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you guys are repeating that all week. The same exact words. You don't even try to finesse it and just throw a little, a little just your own flavor in it. No, you say exactly the words he said. All right. People, all I can tell you is this. Love is important. If you're going to love, can you love others like you love your family? Wow, that's big, right? That's hard. You might not be able to do that. Some people can, and then there's some people who just can't do it. You know what I mean? But you can always try, and it starts somewhere. Where does it start? It starts in the home. Yeah. How many times we done talked about that? It starts in the home. So what you probably should start practicing in order to be a better person is to teach your kids. Teach your kids to love everybody. Just because you may be of the other persuasion. Don't teach your kids that you can get away with almost anything because of your color of your skin. Teach them that right is right and wrong is wrong. Teach them whatever you do to somebody, it might come back to you more than likely. Teach them to respect people, no matter what walk of life they come from. Teach them how to respect people, no matter what their color is, no matter how they talk. Respect them. Now, it's hard to respect somebody who don't respect you. Now, I teach my kids, be respectful. Stand your ground with people who are trying to mistreat you. Stand your ground. Try to be respectful. If they put their hands on you, you got the right to defend yourself. Now, am I wrong for telling my kids this? If they put their hand, don't let me find out you putting your hands on somebody first. Then you got to see me. Stand your ground. Be respectful. But if they put their hands on you, you have the right, dagnabbit, to defend yourself. I've taught my children this. I've been taught this. My grandson will be taught this. And all I ask for the rest of you Republicans and the rest of whoever disagrees is to think about it. Look in the mirror. Would you want your child to be bullied? And if they are you going to tell your child to just take it? Oh, you go tell the authorities. Sometimes you can't get to them. You got to handle some stuff before you can get to the authorities. So I say handle it and then get on to the authorities. And not just that, be honest with your kids about history. Don't try to erase it and cover it up. Tell them. Let them know where we come from versus where we are. Very important. Talk to your kids. It starts at home. And look into the mirror at yourself as an adult. Look into your own soul. Look past the image that you see. And be honest with yourself when you ask the question, am I or am I not racist? Do I act racist? Do I talk racist? Do I teach racism? Which is it? Is it all three? And if it is, how can you fix that? It starts within you. If you want to change something, then you have to first admit what situation that you see. If there's a problem, admit that you have a problem and start working on it. That's the first step in fixing anything within yourself. And I had to do a whole lot of fixing because this society of ours have gotten me to be a very bitter person. And you can tell when I talk about this stuff sometimes. My compassion about it. Because it really bothers me to no end to see so clear with my eyes that other people act like they can't see. This pro-life thing, if you're going to be pro-life, then be pro-life 100%. Don't pick and choose. Don't just fight for the embryo that don't have a choice. And then once that embryo comes through to life out in this world, then you don't care about its life anymore. So if you're going to be pro-life all the way around the board. When you see people doing bad things to people, don't just because they look like you try to defend them. We have to learn that, and we have to take that. When we see our bad apples do some bad things, man, we have to say, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. He got to go. Get rid of him. Do what you got to do with him. If he committed murder, unnecessary murder, then go ahead and fry him, burn him. We have to do that. We have to look at it that way. That's just right across the board. If we have to do it with ours, we sure enough gonna do it with everybody else. But y'all can't do that. Y'all got a problem. When I say y'all, I mean racist Republican people. Racist white folks can't do that. That's a problem. It hurts. It hurts inside, I know, to be like Uncle's a nut. He's a peanut. He done did some bad things. Now we got, sorry, Unc, or little cuz, or whoever you are. Sorry, I can't do it. I don't want, if you tell me what it is and I know, then guess what? I'm going to try to convince you to turn yourself in. I can't be a part of your thing. I can't be a part of that negative vibe. that bad thing. You want me to protect you now. And all you had to do is do the right thing. That's how it go down. It's just we have to take the sweet and the bitter. You know what I mean? So look in the mirror at yourself. Look at yourself. And if we're all going to start fixing anything, we got to fix it within ourselves first in order for us to teach our children to be a better people growing up. Now, I had to look at me, and I still look at me. Some of the things that I'm saying is kind of hard, rough around the edges. But if you really think about it, it's more fair than unfair of the things that I'm saying. All you pro-lifers out there, if you're going to fight for the embryo, then fight for the people once they're born. Bottom line, if you're going to fight that fight, you're going to say you're a pro-lifer, then be that. Don't flip-flop. Don't pick and choose. All right, fam. I ran over my time once again, but it's okay. It's Sunday. Nah, man. Oh, man. There's a lot of things. Like the next one, there is a guy that I do want to talk about. I'm gonna do a little homework on him, and his name is Quanell X. Yeah, he's a lawyer. Quanell X. Matter of fact, he was on a talk show with a guy, and it was almost like they were always battling about the two different points. One guy would stand for the Republican point of view, and Quanell X would stand for his point of view. And his point of view is a lot like mine, you know? And I do want to say something about him next time as well. I want to, for Black History Day next time, I want to celebrate him because he's been doing a lot of good things. As a matter of fact, there's a whole lot of good people out there that I do want to start each day that I come on. I want to kind of celebrate them for the moment, give them applause for the hard work that they're doing for us, bringing us awareness, So you got to give people like that kudos, thumbs up, pat on the back, support, all of that. You should do that. And that's exactly what I plan on doing. So I'm going to go ahead and call this one. It's a wrap, y'all. Listen, tell somebody you love them today. Don't have to be a family member. Could be an old time friend. Could be anybody. Maybe it's even somebody you don't even like that much. But just tell them, you know what, homie? I love you, man. Peace. Right? And on that note, treat people like you want to be treated. Like you want to be treated. Think about it. And it'll come back around because it has for me. That's the key. Treat people like you want to be treated. So when you look in that mirror and you look down into past that image that you see, and you look down into your heart and your soul, and you ask yourself, who are you? And how do you perceive yourself, or how does the world perceive you? And how do you want them to perceive you and treat you? Ask yourself that, and then say, I'm going to treat people like I want to be treated. That's it. All right, fam. I'm about to go ahead and rock and roll and enjoy the rest of my Sunday, and I hope y'all do the same dag everything. All right? Hey, it was nice talking to y'all. And check me out tomorrow. I got something I want to say. All right. Peace. Do it.